Countries with the highest murder rates may surprise you. It is a known fact that the modern world is everything but a safe place, but it is shocking to see just how unsafe the world can be. On today's list, I am going to take a look around the world using the international homicide rate statistics based on the number of homicides per 100,000 inhabitants per year. These statistics will allow us to see which countries have the highest murder rates. Do you want to know which countries have to deal with the most murders? Then I present to you the 25 countries with the highest murder rates in the world. It is absolutely amazing the number of countries from Latin America, the Caribbean and Africa that makes this list. Before we proceed, smash the like button to pieces. Leave a comment, please share the life out of this video. Feel free to subscribe for more content. Remember to turn on your notification so as to never miss another video.
Let's do it.
Starting the list at 25, located on the isthmus connecting North and South America, Panama is just one of the many Central American countries on this list. Generally, the number of murders committed in the country has been slowly decreasing, but very high criminality that often involves gun violence is one of the reasons why Panama unfortunately still belongs in this list. At number 24, a landlocked country in southern Africa, Botswana has the opposite tendency to Panama. In this country, more and more people are killed every year. While in 2009, the murder rate was about 14, in 2012, as many as 18.4 out of every 100,000 Botswanans got murdered. Apart from the frequent homicides, the local population is also decimated by the AIDS epidemic. At 23, with a population of just over 600,000 people, Equatorial Guinea is another African country that finds its place in the sad statistics regularly. Alarmingly high occurrence of armed drug gangs and robbers combined with poor police activity is one of the major reasons why murders as well as other crimes are so common in this country. At 22, with approximately 174 million inhabitants, the most populous country in Africa, Nigeria is notorious for extremely high rates of all violent crimes. Therefore, it comes as no surprise that it appears on this list. Every year, about 20 out of every 100 Nigerian people are victims of a murder. Moreover, hideous practices of rape, domestic violence, or even slavery remain common things in this country. At number 21 on the list, inhabited by just about 70,000 permanent residents, Dominica is one of the smallest countries in the world. But when it comes to the homicide rate, this popular Caribbean holiday destination can compete with much larger countries. Even tourists can get robbed or encounter aggressive behavior. Locals are often armed with machetes, but these are used for cutting their crops, not killing people, fortunately. At number 20, with a total area of almost 2 million square kilometers or over 760,000 square miles, the fifth largest country in the Americas by area, Mexico is notorious for its enormous problems with drug trafficking and related criminality that very often also involves homicides. These sometimes where brutal murders are often used to intimidate rival gangs. Making the list at number 19, with a population of about 175,000 people, St. Lucia is another little Caribbean country that is, apart from amazing natural beauty and marvelous beaches, known for a very high homicide rate. And sadly enough, the number has been growing. While in 2007 there were only 27 murders reported in the country, just 4 years later it was almost twice as much. At number 18, the second largest Caribbean country, the Dominican Republic, is home to almost 10 million people. The murders in this country are frequently associated with drug trade, since the Dominican Republic serves as a transit station for Colombian drugs destined to Europe and the US. The country has been also criticized for its mild approach to convicted criminals. At number 17, located in Central and East Africa, Rwanda has experienced one of the most hideous and atrocious genocide in human history, and unfortunately, killing people still seems to be a sorrowfully common thing in this country. But high number of homicides is not the only problem Rwanda has been struggling with. Other types of violent crimes such as rapes and robbery are also very common. At number 16, with a population of over 200 million, Brazil is one of the largest and most populous countries in the list, as well as in the world. But the huge number of inhabitants brings about a dramatic amount of murders. Just in 2012 alone, almost 65,000 people were killed in the country. It is believed that drug trade and alcoholism are among the major causes of the high homicide occurrences. At number 15, occupying a total area of just about 390 square kilometers or 150 square miles, St. Vincent and the Grenadines is another small Caribbean country with extremely high homicide rates. Interpol statistics suggest that apart from the murders, rapes, robberies, aggravated assaults, and burglaries are also quite common crimes committed in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Located in Central Africa, the Democratic Republic of the Congo is a country extremely rich in natural resources, but political instability, devastating civil wars, a lack of infrastructure, and pervasive corruption have created a breeding ground for enormous criminality with particularly high homicide rates. At number 13, although Trinidad and Tobago is the third richest country per capita in the Americas after the US and Canada, and it is recognized as a high-income economy, this Caribbean country has been listed among those with the highest homicide rates in the world. In the recent years, on average, more than 28 out of every 100,000 people have been murdered annually. At number 12 is a former British Crown colony, the Bahamas, which is an island nation consisting of more than 700 islands in the Atlantic Ocean. Despite being a relatively rich country with its economy based on tourism and finance, the Bahamas has been unsuccessfully dealing with the same problem as their Caribbean neighbors. In 2013, for example, 120 people were killed in the country, which contributed to the average homicide rate of almost 30 per every 100,000. At number 11, situated in northwestern South America, Colombia is notorious for its drug production and trade. This, combined with the highly segregated society split between the rich families of Spanish descent and the majority of poor Colombians, has led to many locals getting involved in not only in murders but also kidnappings, robberies, aggravated assaults, and other crimes. Despite its nicely sounding nickname, the Rainbow Nation, South Africa, home to about 54 million people, has a very high rate of murders, assaults, rapes, and other violent crimes. Statistics published by local police suggest that in South Africa, around 50 people are murdered every day, which is a really alarming number. Fortunately, the homicide rate has slowly been decreasing. At number 9, located in the West Indies, St. Kitts and Nevis is the smallest sovereign state in the Americas in both area and population. But even among those 50,000 people who live in this tiny country, there is a significant number of those who obviously don't mind killing others, with an average of 33.6 homicides per every 100,000 people. St. Kitts and Nevis is ranked at number 9. At number 8, mostly surrounded by South Africa, Swaziland, with its population of just over 1 million, is one of the smallest countries in Africa, but the numbers related to the homicide occurrence are far from being small in Swaziland. Decimated by not only enormous criminality, but also extreme poverty and disease such as AIDS or tuberculosis, the estimated average life expectancy of local people is just about 50 years. At number 7 is Lesotho, another small African country situated within South Africa. Apart from location and size, it shares one more thing with Swaziland: an uncontrollable homicide rate. Almost half the country's population lives between the poverty line, which is partly responsible for its enormous criminality and annual murder rates. At number 6, occupying an area of 11,000 square kilometers or 4,250 square miles, Jamaica is another representative of the Caribbean. For many years, the country has been notorious for having one of the world's highest homicide rates, and the latest statistics by the United Nations Office on Drugs and Crime has confirmed that the murders and crimes are particularly frequent in the cities of Kingston, Montego Bay, and the old capital, Spanish Town. At number 5, with a population of almost 16 million people, Guatemala is the most populous country in Central America, with an average of about 100 murders committed every month. Guatemala has ranked as the country with the 5th highest murder rate in the world. In the 1990s, for example, the city of Esquental had an annual rate of 165 murders per every 100,000 people. At number 4, deeply affected by the long-term and devastating civil war that lasted between 1979 and 1992, El Salvador is a Central American country and a home to about 6.3 million people. The extremely high homicide rate in this country is marked by significant occurrence of gang-related crimes and juvenile delinquency. In 2004, for example, as much as 60% of the murders committed in Salvador were carried out by local gangs competing for power and territory. Number 3, with an area of 22,800 square kilometers or 8,800 square miles and a population of about 340,000 people, Belize is the least densely populated country in Central America. But despite its amazing natural beauty and wildlife, this country is far from being a good place to live. Enormous homicide rates of almost 45 murders for every 100,000 people makes Belize one of the most dangerous countries in the world. The homicides are particularly frequent in the Belize City District, where in 2007, for example, half of all that year's murders occurred in that city. Taking its place at number 2, located on the northern coast of South America, Venezuela has been known as one of the world's major oil exporters, but also as a country with pervasive and unusually high occurrence of homicides. Last year, only 19% of local residents felt safe when walking alone at night, and they had a good reason for that. Every year, more than 50 people out of every 100,000 are killed in Venezuela, and the number has been constantly growing over the last decade. Coming in at number 1 with the very unenviable record as the most murderous country in the world. According to the United Nations Office on Drugs and Crime, Honduras, home to about 8.25 million people, has by far the highest homicide rates of all countries in the world. Its unparalleled average rate of 90.4 murders for every 100,000 people means that in this country almost every 1,000 person is killed. Since Honduras is a popular holiday destination, tourists are often targeted as victims of various violent crimes. Thank you for watching the video. Drop a like and a comment down below and consider subscribing if you haven't done so as yet. Until next time, walk good.